Howdy folks, I'm the Southern Scientist. Today we're diving back into the wonderful watery world that we call our ocean. The ocean is home to some of the largest and most incredible animals to exist on Earth, as well as home to some of the most unique and delicate organisms too. Ranging from the great kelp forests in the Pacific to the most species diverse ecosystems found in tropical and subtropical waters known as coral reefs, that are home to roughly 25% of all marine life, despite only making up about 1% of the world's ocean. Today, we focus on an ecosystem not often observed by the world, the shallow seagrass beds, where you'll likely encounter one of the ocean's most misunderstood animals, the stingray. Although usually an open ocean pelagic fish, sometimes reef ecosystems will be lucky enough to be visited by a large species of ray, the manta ray. Manta rays are planktonic filter feeders that pose no threat to any of the reef's inhabitants. They locate seamounts utilizing the magnetic fields produced by the metals within each of the mounts, as well as an electrochemical receptor, ampullae of Lorenzini, that they share with their relatives, the sharks. Modern sharks and rays have called the ocean home for about 200 million years, making them older than the evolution of grass. Sharks and rays belong to class Chondrichthyes, subclass Elasmobranchii, a group of animals that notably identified by their secondarily evolved cartilaginous skeletons. Unlike the manta ray, most whiptail rays are benthic and inhabit coral reefs, estuaries, and seagrass beds, where they act as voracious predators to crustaceans like crabs. Some parts of the world have embraced the typically docile nature of these animals, like Stingray Beach in Cozumel, Mexico, where tourists flock to pet and feed these so-called aggressive devil rays. Back on the reef, a manta ray comes not to seek food, but a doctor's visit. This particular ray has suffered injuries from a large shark, and by coming here, he participates in a temporary mutualistic symbiosis where the reef fish feed on parasites, dead skin, or any infected wounds. And he, in return, gets a free cleaning before continuing on his journey across the open ocean. Benthic stingrays, on the other hand, like the smooth stingray, tend to cause quite a ruckus when showing up on the scene. As mentioned before, these rays feed primarily on crustaceans, and this large conglomeration of crabs look extremely appealing to this ray. By gliding over the crowd, the ray seeks out the weakest and most vulnerable crab to call its dinner. The dentition of stingrays isn't what most people expect, as they have crushing plate-like teeth that allow them to engage in durophagy, a process in which an organism's teeth allows them to eat durable foods, like crabs. Here, the stingray caught one by wrapping its body around the crab and finessing it into its jaws, where the plates can crush up the exoskeleton to get to the soft meat inside. A freshly molted crab catches the attention of a smooth stingray, as this post-molt stage is where they're the most vulnerable to predation. The soft shell makes this crab less mobile and easier to catch, making it an ideal meal for the stingray. Luckily, the large amount of crabs has distracted the ray enough to lose interest, and this crab will live to tell the tale another day. Another benthic ray. This one isn't here to feed though. Like the manta ray, this one has come to the reef to be cleaned. Manta rays perform some of the most majestic and intricate courtship dances that can last for days. The female leads the dance and continues until only one male remains with her. Many stingrays, like these cow-nose rays, live in shallow water, and when temperatures warm, oftentimes large groups of rays will begin to populate a coastal seabed. Stingrays that are close to shores during warmer months pose a safety risk to humans, as we often forget that we're intruding their home every time we go to the beach for vacation, and sometimes an unlucky person may step on a ray and find out the bitter truth behind their name when the ray injects an extremely painful neurotoxin from its serrated barb. The best way to avoid stings from a stingray is to either avoid warm waters or do the stingray shuffle, to create enough noise and motion to hopefully encourage the ray to move away from where you are. Stingrays have gotten a very bad rap, especially with one being the culprit for the passing of the legendary wildlife conservationist Steve Irwin. However, despite the tragedy, even his children hold no hate for the amazing creatures, as seen in this interview with Larry King when he asked Robert and Bindi if they hate stingrays.
Honestly, I really don't, because it was just a crazy accident that happened. Yeah, and stingrays are really beautiful animals. Dad loved them, we love them, and they're important to our environment. And I know that Dad would be the first person to say, I love stingrays.
Stingrays are some of the most misunderstood animals, and they're generally one of the most docile creatures that you could encounter in the ocean. They seek not to harm us, but rather to just be left alone, to fly through the ocean like this spotted eagle ray. Humans will always have run-ins with stingrays, and sometimes there's no way to avoid an accident. Even when doing the stingray shuffle, I managed to stir up a southern stingray that wrapped around my leg in a panic and stabbed my foot with its barb. And despite the pain and agony I was in for a month afterward, I too hold no grudge against the animal that injured me. I was in its home and disturbed it while it rested on the seagrass bed. I gained a deeper respect for the ocean and its inhabitants that day, and found the experience to be a vessel for me to help inform others about the misunderstood rays and shed a light on the beauty of them, so that they can be treated with their well-earned respect, not fear. Our oceans are home to the most productive ecosystems on Earth that can be filled with thousands of different species, all of which play a crucial role for the environment. The organisms found in our oceans are even important to us as humans, as the fish provide food for billions of people each year, and tourism in regions with reefs fuel local economies. However, as humans, we have overfished and destroyed many of these important environments, and without regulation, our carbon emissions may very well be the cause for the disappearance of reefs globally. One way that I hope to make an impact for good is by spreading information about the ocean and all the world's misunderstood animals, to try and begin a conversation that these animals should not be feared, but rather understood, appreciated, and respected. Because as we move past fear and into understanding, we stand a much better chance at protecting those around us. And thus, we have a better shot at making everywhere a little bit greener, a little bit healthier, and a little bit happier. Resulting in a world where we can all live as one, without judgments and with more respect, where the earth is a better place. This has been The Southern Scientist. Thank you.